Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I am going to be reviewing The Factory by Hiroko Oyamada, translated by David Boyd. I'm going to talk about why I selected this book, what the plot of this book is, and who I think may enjoy this book. So let's dive in. First of all, the cover, we have this trash can that is smoking, and then we have a thin little volume which is under 150 pages. It tops at 116, so it is quite a thin volume, but this did take me a couple days to read because the way it is written is quite interesting. I decided to pick this up out of the library. I found it on the shelves due to a particular bias that I have. I saw that this was originally a book or a novel that was written in Japanese and it has been translated into English. And whenever I see that, I guess I have an assumption or a bias that the book is good enough to be translated into English. So the publisher has seen that it has performed well enough in the Japanese market to warrant maybe being of interest to the English-speaking market, therefore making the expense of translating it into into English worthwhile. Now that could be completely false. That could be a completely false assumption on my end. Maybe it's doing poorly in the Japanese market, and so they're going to translate it to English to get a bigger share. But considering the author has won many several awards, and is doing quite well, I think that the book is good. And that was the assumption I had when I took the book home from the library, and it did take me a couple days to get into it, mostly because it's summer and I'm just not really in as much of a reading mood in the summer because I want to be outside doing summer things. But I finally got around to reading it and I was absolutely fascinated. This kind of scratches an itch that I have for things that are unexplained or interesting or maybe a little mysterious without being too spooky and scary and rendering me unable to do things like walk around my house at night when it's dark because it's too scary. So the premise of this is there is a factory in a region that employs a large number of people. It is a little mysterious what the factory produces. It is not quite certain what goes on in the factory, but the employees are well cared for and they find employment at this factory, a large number of them from the local region. We follow three individuals who get jobs at this factory. There's a woman who gets hired as a temp worker or a contract worker in the shredding department. Her job is going to be to shred papers all day, manually feeding them into these shredder machines. The second is a proofreader who is going to look at documents that come in and find mistakes in the language, look at the translations, find different errors. A proofreader, a manual proofreader for a wide variety of documents. And the third is a moss expert. So the moss expert is someone who is supposed to be creating moss roofs for the factory, and that is the purpose he has brought on board. Now, I'm being a little vague with the purpose because all of these people are, despite the wide range of positions they're filling or range in their experience, the proofreader and the woman being contract workers and the moss expert being a researcher at a university, they all kind of have this weird experience when they start working there. When they first get into the position, they're finding themselves at a very difficult area in their career. The woman who gets hired into the shredder department, we learn, has been through quite a number of jobs. My understanding is that it is less common in the Japanese work environment to just churn through jobs every 2 years. That is more common in the American job market, so I think that's something you just have to expect. She's been through a couple jobs and she's now in her 30s, which I think is not uncommon for a young American woman to have done that, but it probably is less common for a young Japanese woman to do that. So she's viewed as a risk by employers, I should say. So she lands this job shredding. She's kind of in a difficult position having too many jobs. The proofreader has similarly been let go from his position and he finds this work beneath him because he used to be an engineer, but now has to do proofreading, but hey, it's a job, it avoids unemployment and it gives him something to do, so he's doing that. And the moss expert is one that's a little different from the previous two in the sense that he feels like his career is going well, but he maybe seems a little hesitant to take the next step. He is a moss expert researching at a university, but you get the sense that he is still a student level and maybe he's struggling to translate into a professional career, and his advisor or the person who's in charge of him pushes him into making that decision to accept this job from the factory. The factory has created a whole department just for him. They have no expectations for him and he's just allowed to have free reign of what he is to do. All three of these people are kind of at a different part of their career, but a difficult crossroad in their career. The three of them just mentioned either having too many jobs or having been let go or not being brave enough to take the next step. But when they get into the factory, they also face a very similar dilemma. It's always unclear exactly what the factory is doing, and all three of these people start to get the feeling that their position isn't really a real position. The shredder, the woman who's doing the shredding, thinks that it's kind of ridiculous that they hire someone to manually feed shredder when a machine could do it better. She doesn't understand the purpose of why she's doing it when it would be undoubtedly more efficient to automate this process, and yet she still has to do it day after day. The proofreader also similarly doesn't understand why there's a manual proofreader, and there starts to become weird things, particularly with his job. So they'll pass the document along, and yet the document will come back changed in different ways. And the documents have no rhyme or reason. He's reading all these documents that come from a wide variety of sources, and none of them seem to have any rhyme or reason. So it's not like he's all reading documentation on how to build a washer or dryer. They might be a nature manual, and some of these documents don't even seem to make sense to him, but he knows he has to proofread them, and he finds an error in every single one, and he passes it along into some mysterious black hole, and it comes back with different errors and new errors that he has to correct next time. The moss expert is also particularly weird, in not him as an individual, but in the sense that he's supposed to build these moss roofs for the factory, and yet it's very clear from everyone around him that they expect him to do no such thing, and he doesn't really have to do anything. His main thing every single year is to lead a moss hunt for children to go look at mosses. That is it. That is the only thing he has to do. And so all three of these people find themselves in a cycle where they are spending a lot of time at the factory, and the world outside the factory just seems to fall away. In one scene, the woman who's working as a shredder actually gets sent home for a half day very suddenly just to enjoy the vacation, and she doesn't even leave the factory grounds. She winds up wandering around. The moss expert, in the same way, senses unease in the fact that he's not completing the mission that he was hired on for, to build these moss roofs, and yet people are disturbed that he even questions what they should be doing instead. Like he's thinking about, okay, what should our next steps be, because this may not be feasible, and people are almost questioning why he's even questioning that he has this. The proofreader similarly is just really wondering how he can use his skills better, but also not really understanding why he's even proofreading these documents, where they come from, or what they are doing anyways. The whole factory has an air of mystery around it. We never find out what's going on, but you get the sense that something wrong is going on there. The wrongness is never resolved throughout the whole mystery, and these three people are just little cogs in the machine that are seeing something odd, but somehow have been so sucked into the factory that they are unwilling to leave, and they are just witnessing these odd things and having to calm themselves or tell themselves, hey, at least I'm earning money, this beats unemployment, and I'm going to just continue to do this. You also get the sense of the falling away of identity, as people sometimes have odd experiences they can't quite explain, and distance and time seems to act differently in here. The time is definitely the most interesting aspect of this book out of all of that, in that time will shift mid-paragraph. We'll be in a totally different scene mid-paragraph, or we'll be 15 years later or 15 years earlier mid-paragraph. And we get the sense that time is quite different and fluid in this environment, and not quite how it is maybe outside the factory, or the people who are experiencing time, the woman who works as a shredder, the man working as a proofreader, or the man who is a moss expert, are gradually becoming unmoored from the sense of time that pervades them and is all around them. So that is the premise or the plot of the book. It's this odd feeling of people being in a factory and doing jobs they're not quite sure is meaningful, while also not being really sure about the overall purpose of the factory overall. This book scratched an itch for me that I really want, and I want to read more of, which are things that are offsetting or off-putting without entirely being too creepy or too scary for me. So I think this book would be perfect for someone who really enjoys creepier, scarier things, but doesn't really want something that's very viscerally gory, or who doesn't want something that's so scary they can't sleep at night. If you're like me, if you are very, very weak when it comes to things that are spooky and you just want to dip your toe into things that are scary, this could be something for that, because it, instead of true horror, it's a slight sense of unease throughout the entire book, which is enough for me to be intrigued and keep me intrigued. And I also like the lack of a lot of conclusions. We never truly know what's going on because there is a lack of omniscient narrator who's telling us what's actually going on. Instead, we just have these three individuals and their experience that we're left to build this idea of a factory around. I like the sense of unease. I liked the eeriness that kind of pervaded the day-to-day work life that felt throughout this entire book. It felt to me a little bit like, Lacrimore. I know the book I'm thinking of, and I will link it, which was another book where maybe more explicitly the aura of a place was kind of creepy, and that lent itself to the atmosphere of the book. This book is less explicit, I think, but I think the less explicit nature makes it more interesting to read, and it's definitely clear that the author is a master at her craft and she's good at what she does. So if you're looking for a book that has an uneasy atmosphere around it, while just going through mundane tasks of temp workers and a researcher whose job is not really what they say he is to do, this could be a fantastic book for you. It's not going to take a long time to read. It's perfect for if you are like me and don't like to read a lot during the summer. You can just read a shorter book. This is a fantastic read. I really like the author, and I would love to see if she's done other works. It says right here this is her second book. No, this is her first book, and her second book, The Hole, also won a prize, the Akutagawa prize. So I wonder if that one has been translated. I would love to read more by her because I think she does a really good job, and I really enjoyed The Factory. If you have any thoughts on this book, if you would like to put your commentary on this book or thoughts on the book in the comment section down below, please let me know. I would love to read them. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.